Hey, it's Emily Williams, the founder of I Heart My Life and your host of the I Heart My Life show. This is episode 170, 6 Figures in 6 Months, part 2. So if you haven't yet listened to part 1 of this 4-part series, go back and check that out because it really sets the stage for everything I'm about to share today. Today, this training is all about mindset, and I'm going back to the beginning of my journey when I hit 6 figures for the very first time. This audio is something I recorded actually about 5 years ago. So it might sound a little bit dated, but the content is incredible. And I've received so many rave reviews from this series that I knew I had to share it here on the show. So like I said, we're going to go deep with mindset shifts, really moving through blocks. We're going to talk about moving through money blocks and money fears. And I'm going to share all the ins and outs of what I did to really transform my bank account, transform my thinking, improve my confidence level, all of the good stuff that helped me build a successful foundation to create my business upon. Most people forget that it's not just about strategy. It really is about your mindset when it comes to creating massive success and sustainable success. So let's dive in. This episode is sponsored by iHeart Coaching, our signature program for new and aspiring online coaches. iHeart Coaching is your one-stop shop designed to support you in becoming the next standout online coach. Whether you're brand new to the digital space or looking to take your coaching business to the next level, this is a comprehensive program that's going to show you how to build a successful coaching business from A to Z. We're going to share how to generate maximum revenue and book out your calendar with dream clients. To learn more, go to iHeartCoaching.com. Hi, everyone. It's Emily Williams here. I'm the founder of I Heart My Life and a success coach for female entrepreneurs. You already heard the first audio recording in this 6 Figures in 6 Months training series. And in case you haven't, go back and listen to that one first because we're going in order here and it does make more sense to listen to the first one. That one was all about starting before you're ready, saying yes to your dreams, investing in yourself and your business, and really just doing this in a really smart way. We all have the desire to make more money and to be successful, but there's definitely a method that really worked for me. And so that's exactly what I'm sharing with you. So that's why it's important to listen to these in a bit of an order here. So this second training series is about your mindset. And this is a huge, huge passion for me. So I'm going to go as deep as I possibly can in about 45 minutes. But please know that there's much more that we could say about this subject, or at least that I could say, because it's a really big passion for me. So frankly, I've done a lot of programs, as you've heard me say, that were structure based. And that's great. We all need to know about systems and MailChimp and our website and our marketing and our ideal client and all of that good stuff. But at the same time, we also need the mindset to back it up. So I would wager that most of us weren't born successful female entrepreneurs. Maybe we'd like to think that we were. And of course, some of us have entrepreneurial abilities that are quite natural. I feel like I've actually, I do have some of those. I grew up with entrepreneurs all around me. And so I do have a bit some entrepreneur traits. But at the same time, there was a lot to be learned. So when you start a business, it's oftentimes quite foreign. You feel like you might be playing this guessing game. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why we need to invest in ourselves. But that's also more, it's also really important that you recognize from a mindset perspective just how important it is to really do work on your thoughts and your attitude towards your business and towards life. And also your mindset towards money. So we're going to talk about both of those things today. So, we all grew up with various backgrounds, with various environments, with different perspectives about how to live life. I know my husband and I often laugh about the different ways that we were raised. He was raised with a family that taught them to basically play it safe and to stay in that 9-to-5 job and to be grateful for what they had and just pay the bills. And, that's a great perspective. That's what a lot of people have. You should be grateful for what you have, but that doesn't mean you don't strive for more or step outside of the box. Whereas I grew up with a family of entrepreneurs. And so it was really natural to take chances and to really, create the life that you want, in terms of the time you spend working, the people you work with, obviously what you do on a day-to-day basis. And I had a dad who woke up at 4:30 in the morning and still does. And he would start his day at 4:30 in the morning. He would have client meetings around 5:30. And somehow he would make it home by 6:30 to have dinner with us and hang out and take us to basketball or volleyball or whatever it was. And he was available on the weekends as well, but that's how he designed his life. And, I'll still get calls from him when it's 4:30 in the morning his time and it's 9:30 in London. So he's a funny one, but that was my perspective. That was normal for me. So everyone grows up with these different perspectives. And so when you bring all of that stuff into your adulthood and into your business, sometimes there's some adjustments to be made. So the way I like to think of this is about you downloading a new operating system in terms of your mindset. So it's like your software, like my MacBook, it's constantly asking me to do software upgrades. And it's the same thing. So this is all about you upgrading your mindset and really remembering that your thoughts become things. And that's why it's so important to do this work, especially as an entrepreneur when you're trying to do something really big and create the life that you really want. So to start off, this is about creating the life that you want. So I want you to get really clear on what that actually is. It's really funny. So many women I speak to, they're like, oh my gosh, you're telling me that I can design the life that I really want? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's possible for you. But first of all, you have to get clear on what that is. So what is it that you desire? Normally, I have my clients come up with 10 things that they desire in their life for the next year. Or if you want to do it in a smaller time period, you can do it in the next 90 days. So what does your ideal life look like? When I first did this, I started off with really small things. Like I wanted to be able to go out to coffee, to have coffee a few times a week. I wanted to work from cafes. I wanted to be able to go out and have drinks with my husband. I wanted to be able to travel. Things started to get progressively bigger. Then I said I wanted to take 4 international trips a year. I wanted to be able to have a certain amount of money. I said 500 pounds to shop for clothes for myself. I wanted to be able to go out to restaurants. And, now the list has grown. And so one of the things on my desire list was to be able to have a house with an actual proper office. Before I was running a business from a kitchen table. So, we ticked that one off the list. So, it's about you designing the life that you really want and getting really clear on what that is. And, in The Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich, both of those books I highly recommend to you. They both talk about how it's so important to be really specific with your desires in the way that you would actually write a letter to a friend. So what is it that you really want? Get clear on that. That's really, really key for this. And then once you have that, then you're able to create the life that you really desire. And your mindset has to really be in line with that, which is why we're going to go really deep with that today. So again, like I said, your thoughts and your words create your reality. So what do you want to be your reality? That's the first part. And then we really need to download that new operating software so we can start designing that life that we really want and making that reality possible. And so, as I told you before, one of the first people to ever tell me that I had control over my thoughts was an amazing happiness coach that I met in London. And that was a huge moment for me, a moment of realization. And I know that for a lot of my clients, it's kind of a new thing as well to believe that success really starts in your mind. But I've seen that over and over in my life and in my business in the past 6 months. And I know 100% for a fact that I would not be where I am today if it hadn't been for all of the work that I'd done on my mindset. And I also know that there would not be as many women who wanted to work with me if it had not been for that work. Because if you think about it, if you're in a service-based industry, your clients pretty much have the pick of the litter in terms of who they can work with. And so you have to be the best, you have to have really done the work on yourself before you can attract the right clients. And so that mindset work is so essential to that. And I didn't realize that when I signed up for structural program after structural program to learn all of that good stuff. I didn't realize that the mindset work was just as important. So that's why we're talking about that first. And I'm really stressing that to you. And actually in all of my programs, I have the combination of the mindset work and the structure program because I don't feel like you can have one without the other. It's really, really key. So that's why we're going deep with this today. So basically, we have between 12,000 and 75,000 thoughts per day. And the number doesn't really matter. But the fact is that most of the time, around 95% of the thoughts that we have are thoughts that we've already had before, the day before and the day before that and the day before that. So they're basically on a loop. And most of the time they don't serve us. I have to be honest with you. And so, I actually would say that I'm a naturally negative person. And so that might surprise a lot of you who have heard me speak before and who are obviously on this training series. But that's really the truth. I don't find myself to be a naturally positive person. That's something I've had to retrain myself to be. So I've really downloaded that new operating system in that respect. And so it's possible for you too. If you feel like you're kind of a Debbie Downer at the moment, definitely it's possible for you. So, like I said, we weren't born with that successful female entrepreneur mindset. So I went to my coach and she knew I was obviously down in the dumps. I was going through a quarter life crisis, and she finally told me, you have the power over your thoughts and you have the ability to create your own reality. And so what I would really love for you to do over the next few days is to download something like Evernote or use the Notes app on your phone and just track your thoughts. What are the words that you're telling yourself every day? What's going through your mind? What is definitely not serving you? I mean, are you telling yourself that you're terrible at marketing, or that no one's ever going to want to buy from you, or you're never going to be successful, or no one's ever going to love you? Or, what is it that you're telling yourself every single day? Because that's creating your reality. And so I really want you to get clear on what that is, track it, and flip the switch, basically. And I'm going to tell you how to do that in a second. So one of the things that is really important here that you recognize is that whatever you're saying to yourself, like if you're saying, I'm never going to get clients, or my clients are never going to get results, or I'm a fraud, my clients are never going to be attracted to me, my website isn't good enough, you're going to get more of that, and it's going to really repel your clients and repel money. So that's why this is so important. One of the things that I realized straight away that I was saying to myself was there was just a lot of fear-based thoughts, I guess I would say. I was scared of what was going to happen in a year from now. What if I couldn't do this? It's never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be successful, things like that. Or, I was scared of getting that first client and messing them up or not doing a good enough job or whatever it may be. So again, your thoughts and your words create your reality. So what is it that you really desire from your life? What are your thoughts right now? And how are those thoughts blocking you from getting what you really desire? And so once you have a list of like the running thoughts for the week, then you'll be able to flip the switch. And what I mean by that is literally create the exact opposite thought. So if you have the thought of I'll never be successful, flip it to I am successful, currently successful. Get into the emotion of that as well. Like, what does it feel like to be that really successful woman? And so go to the amazing boutique stores that you always dream of shopping in and try on the clothes. Get the feeling of being that successful woman. You don't have to buy them the second, but feel that feeling. If you have the desire to go to Starbucks, a few times a week, then start doing that, like at least once a week, and then build up as you begin making more money. So the mistake that a lot of people make is that they put the life that they really desire on hold until they can really feel like they can go for it. But there's steps that you can take straight away so that you start to have the life that you desire, even if it's in a smaller way. So for example, like I said, one of the things that was really important to me on my desire list was to go out to dinner with my husband. And so to go out to have a drink with my husband. That's where we started. And so I knew that we could afford to go out and spend like that 10 or 15 pounds a week. It wasn't going to break the bank. So that's where we started. We started small, and then we built up to going out to dinner. Last night, I just spent 50 pounds on this amazing truffle macaroni dish, which of course I never would have done even 6 months ago, never in a million years. But I would have, started small and had the Prosecco that I really wanted, or had the champagne or whatever it is, just one glass, or had the Bellini, which I love Bellinis. So where are you keeping yourself from your desires today? And where can you make that shift, even if it's in that really small way? One of the things I really loved from the event I went to in last September, it was the Oprah event. I think it was called the Life You Want Tour. And I went there, and she had incredible speakers, but one of which was Elizabeth Gilbert, who I'm a huge fan of, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And she was talking about this woman who basically she always had the desire of traveling around the world. And one day she woke up with, she had 5 kids. I think they were under the age of 9. And she realized her husband had basically left her and wasn't going to be coming back. In that moment, she could have gone into a tailspin, but instead she decided that she was going to start taking steps towards the life she really wanted that day. And she was not going to let her mind go into the woe is me place. Oh, now I'm single and alone. How am I ever going to do that? She was going to keep her eye on the goals and keep her mindset in a positive place. And so straight away, she started up this fund where she put $1 in a coffee can every single day. And of course, there would have been days where she really needed that dollar, right? Like with 5 kids, that could have, paid for a loaf of bread or whatever it was. But she didn't allow herself to take any money out. And she didn't allow herself to miss a day in terms of taking that step towards her goal, that $1 a day. And so when all of her kids were finally out of the house and grown and adults and raised and all of that, she took her trip around the world. I think it was something like 18 years or 22 years later, something like that. And her kids didn't even know that their mom, that their mom had been saving all that money for so long. And because she never told anyone. And so it's something like that. Like, how can you take a step towards the life that you desire today instead of playing really small and allowing your negative thoughts of like, oh, I can't do that, or that's not possible for me, get in the way? Because your mind needs to start developing and downloading that new software straight away, even if it's in small ways. So whatever you desire to be possible for your life, take small steps towards that today and really start flipping the switch on your thoughts and on your mindset. So a big one for women I know is jealousy. And I actually have a lot of experience with this. I was a super jealous person for a long time. My best friend was someone who was always getting all of the boys that I liked, right? And so she is incredible. And I know why they loved her. And she, just has this magnetic personality and is absolutely wonderful. And so it was never anything against her. It was just me, feeling jealous and feeling my own insecurities and being in my thoughts of like, what's wrong with me? Why don't they don't like me? Blah, 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 all of that stuff. And I remember that I couldn't even watch the E! True Hollywood Story of Taylor Swift a few years ago because I was so jealous of her success at such a young age. And it sounds so silly to say it out loud, but the fact that she used to write for other famous country musicians by the age of like 12 or something. And then she found obviously great success soon after with her own work. I couldn't even watch that because I was like, in my quarter life crisis, why in the world haven't I started my business yet? Why am I not a success? Blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, there's a million other coaches out there. So I could totally be jealous of them. But I've learned to flip the switch on my jealousy. And there is such a thing as a comparison hangover, which definitely does not serve us. So if that's the point where you're at right now, really notice that when you're taking notes of your thoughts this week and flip the switch on that, because jealousy is actually a really good thing. I've written a few articles on this. It's a good thing because it can show you where you want to go. And it can show you, exactly what it is that you desire for your life. Now, with Taylor Swift, I don't really have a desire to be a country music star, but at the same time, I do have a desire to be visible. I have a desire to be successful at a young age. I have a desire to wear beautiful clothes. I have a desire to get my hair done, my makeup done, to be styled. I have the desire to travel the world. So I actually turned that jealousy into gratitude because she was showing me so much about what I really desired for my life and what was actually possible. And the same thing with my mentor, Gina DeVee. Like for a long time, I was like, oh, Gina has such an amazing life, traveling, house in Paris, doing amazing things. She's starting her own clothing line, blah, blah, blah. And these people are actually showing us what's possible. A lot of times they've been paving the way for us. So really dial down the jealousy and amp up the fact that, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for this person who's showing me what's possible for me and what it is that I really want. That's really important. So that's just one way that you can switch your mindset. And then the other way is, another way is really just to remember that everything is figure outable, which is something we talked about in the previous training. So not going into overwhelm. So again, I've had to retrain my mindset to believe that I can do anything I put my mind to, and that really, like, whatever my heart desires, it's possible. So like I said, in January of this year, in 2015, I could have totally gone into overwhelm in terms of us moving into a new flat, me being a part of this millionaires program, whatever it may be. There was a bunch of stuff going on all at once. And so I could have gone into overwhelm, but I trained my mind to believe and to know without a doubt that everything is figure outable and that I could handle it. And so that's where you have to go. You have to go into that positive place with your thoughts, and really flip that switch. So if you are in the place of, I can't do this and I'm never going to make it happen and I'm never going to make more money, blah, 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 then you're going to stay there. And I know that's really hard to hear, but you need to hear it because I definitely had to. There was a time when I first started working with a coach, and I remember it was so funny. She sent me this questionnaire to fill out after our session. And it basically asked me questions of like, what am I looking forward to implementing this week? What am I looking forward to achieving? What am I looking forward to? What clients am I looking forward to working with? Blah, 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 things like that. And I put on, like, for every single answer I put, I don't know, nothing. And like all these negative responses. And that was because that's where my mindset was. And so, you know what? There's so many people that I work with that give up right before the good stuff is about to happen. It's like you're this pot on the stove. You might have heard me say this, but you're this pot on the stove heating up, about to boil. Yet for some reason, we give up right before that's about to happen. And so I really, really, really want to encourage you to flip the switch today. Start thinking in positive ways. Start thinking about how your desires are already yours or they're on their way to you. Because that's what you really need to do to create the life that you really desire. It's not about you putting on a questionnaire that you're not excited for anything. It's not about you telling yourself that you're not good at marketing or that you're never going to get your first client, because that will keep you in that place. And that's definitely where we don't want you to be, right? Everything is figure outable. You have to believe that it's already yours. Visualize your desires and the life that you want. This is also something I learned from the Oprah event. She had the incredible Olympian Amy Purdy on there, or at the event, and she spoke at the very end. And she's a woman who, she basically got meningitis. I think she was about 20 when she got it, and she had to have her legs amputated. And during that time, she was really she was on the path to becoming an Olympian. I believe she's a snowboarder, and I'm sorry if she's a skier. I always forget which one. But basically she had the dream of receiving a medal at the Olympics. And so she was lying in this hospital bed, having just had her legs amputated, and she was visualizing herself going down that mountain, so much so that she could feel the cold air on her skin. She could feel the wind going through her hair. She could see them putting that medal over her head and feeling the weight of it on her chest. She could see her parents smiling at her and being so proud of her achievement, all of that stuff. And so she believed it was already hers, and it was. And, she ended up doing it. She ended up doing much more. I mean, she's been on Dancing with the Stars. She's created her own shoe line for other people who have prosthetic legs and feet. And so she's like the most amazing inspiration. So believing it's already yours and really changing your thoughts to believe that it's possible for you and it's really already on its way to you, that's what's so key. And it's really funny when I talk about this stuff because I just really wonder why I didn't learn about this in high school. Like why was I just taught this at 23 years old by a random coach in London? It's really funny when you think about it. So this is something that I really want you to understand straight away. So start flipping the switch, taking note of your thoughts this week and flip the switch straight away. So where do you need to download that new operating system? Are you really in the, down in the dumps about your business, about the clients you're taking on, about not being able to attract clients, about not being able to make money, whatever it is, really flip that switch today. But that has to start with you getting aware of what your thoughts are and what you're repeating to yourself on a daily basis. And then you can flip the switch. So that's your homework for this week. Then the second part of this training series is all about your money mindset. And so, people often forget about this work. In all honesty, I didn't even know I had a money mindset until I started doing some work with Gina DeVee. And so the reality is that our money mindset is set by the time we're 8 years old based on what our parents tell us about money and what we learn from our environment. And this isn't about you blaming your parents or us getting upset about what you were taught or whatever. This is just about you, again, having an awareness of what your thoughts are around money, because that's going to be creating your reality. So for example, I always had a really, really guilty conscience about any sort of debt, especially when I moved to London. I had to take out a loan for my education, my master's, and so I ended up being about, I don't know, I think I took out like 30,000 US dollars or something, but clearly like that was cut in half, and then I had to take out more because the British pound is the conversion is so terrible, so it ended up being not enough, and I had to take out double that, and again it got cut in half, so it wasn't enough, and I could only work about 20 hours a week as a student. So anyway, I had to take out credit cards and all of that. So I was really in debt. And so I had so much guilt over that, even though I had come to London and I had moved across the world to follow my dreams. And I believed in what I was doing. But at the same time, that debt it got a hold of me, and it really changed the way I thought about my life and about myself and my goals and about my confidence, all of that. And so it's really important that you get an awareness of what your money story is. So like I said, it's most of the time it's set by the time we're 8 years old, and we bring it into our adulthood, which doesn't serve us. So what are you telling yourself about money? I have some common money stories right here. See if you resonate with any of these. The first one is, I'm bad with money. The next one, I can't save. I never have enough. I can't make enough. I feel guilty and ashamed for my debt. Making money means that I'm taking it from someone. In order to make money, you have to work really hard because success is hard to achieve. I'm bad at paying off debt. Saving is a struggle. You always have to evaluate every purchase. You can always get it cheaper. Money doesn't grow on trees. Living within your means is the best way to live. Wealthy people are evil. God doesn't want us to have money. Only skinny people can be rich. You shouldn't make a lot of money by helping people. I never have enough money for what I want. Life is too expensive. We should just be grateful for what we have and not be greedy. Okay. So those are some very common money themes. So what is it that you're telling yourself about money that is definitely not serving you? This is another chance for you to really start tracking what it is that you're telling yourself about money every single day, because you could very well be blocking it from coming into your life. So I didn't even realize I was doing this. And this is why this training is like so key to your success, because you could be blocking that success from coming in. So as I said, I didn't even know I was doing this until I started doing this work. And I realized that by me focusing on my debt, instead of focusing on abundance and what I really wanted for my life and those desires, like we just spoke about, I was keeping myself in that place of debt. And so if that's what you're doing right now, if you're making yourself feel wrong for the guilt, for the debt and making yourself feel guilty about it, then that switch needs to be flipped straight away, because you could be blocking money, and most likely you are. So also you can also think about it in this respect. What words do you currently use to describe money? You can also think about the people in your life. What do they believe about money? How are they speaking about money? Because that can really affect you as well. Timothy Ferriss says that we're the combination of the 5 people we spend the most time with throughout the week. So what are those people in your life saying about money? What's really seeping in? And so, like I said, I realized because I was focused on the debt and I was focused on the lack, I got more of that and I stayed in that place. So the moment I got really clear on my desires and what I wanted from my life and started flipping the switch in terms of my mindset, and also flipping the switch in terms of my money mindset, that's when the money started coming in. And it makes sense if you think about it in this way. Think about like if you have a boyfriend or a husband and you think about how annoying they are or how much they're, driving you crazy or whatever it is, you're going to get more of those negative feelings, right? But if you think about the fact that they're great and you focus on their wonderful qualities, then you're going to start to feel better straight away and the negative thoughts are going to subside. Well, it's the same about money. So if you're thinking negatively about it, and if you're thinking, oh, I'm never going to get it, and money doesn't grow on trees, and I have to work so hard for all of this money, and clients aren't going to pay me that amount. How am I crazy? Like I'm never going to be able to sell that. Or if you're thinking wealthy people are evil, things like that, that's going to block the money from coming into your life. And so again, this is where you take out your notes, your notepad, or whatever it is you're using to write down your thoughts. You get really clear on what those thoughts are, and you start to flip the switch straight away. And I have to tell you, so me flipping the switch on just like normal mindset stuff, that was much easier for me than flipping the switch on the money mindset stuff. And so this is why I go really deep with this with my clients, because there's a lot of stuff we've been trained we've been trained to think about money that doesn't serve us. And it normally does take, a bit of time to really download that new money operating system, so to speak. So for me, what I did is I put Post-it notes all around my house of new thoughts about money. So, for example, the big one for me was I always have enough money for all of my desires, because the opposite thought, basically my whole life, was that I don't have enough money for all the stuff that I want. That's why I'm in debt, and that's why I had to get credit cards, because there was never enough money for everything. And so now I've really flipped the switch on that. But for a while in the beginning, it felt like a white lie. I felt like I was telling myself a lie when I read that Post-it note. But you better believe I read it over and over and over and over again throughout the day, and it was always in front of me. Another thing that I always said to myself was, I'm a money magnet, which really resonated with me. So, I'm going to put a little YouTube clip below this audio. It's an 18-minute audio with tons of money mantras. And it's really funny. I used to lay in the shower for like 18 minutes and listen to this audio over and over. I was retraining my mind to believe all of this and to believe that it was possible for me. And so it's basically one of those audios where you can repeat back what the man leading the audio is saying. So, I'm a money magnet. I always have enough money for all of my desires, things like that. And so you'll see which ones resonate for you. And then you can start putting them around your house. Or I even have them on my cell phone so that they pop up and they play nice music as like an alarm, basically. And then it has that text there. So even things when I figure out my financial goals for each month, which we'll talk more about in a bit, then I really, I put that note on my phone as well. And I put things like, thank you for my $50,000 this month, or thank you for my 10 clients, whatever it may be. And so this is so key to focus on. Start flipping the switch on your money mindset. Think positively about money. Think about money and how it's easy to make. And like I said, it's going to feel like a white lie. My husband and I used to go into stores where we wanted to buy clothes. Like, I forget, we were in Covent Garden, if anyone knows London, and we were just going store to store. And we didn't buy anything, but we would walk in and we would say something like, oh, I'm so rich, or we can buy everything in this store. Things like that. And it felt really weird at first, I have to say, but it was all about flipping the switch and making our conditioning much different. And so I believe all the time, that my clients are on their way to me. My clients are just waiting to find me, right? And so that's how you have to think about it. You have to think about your desires being possible for you, because they are. And so often we're taught, to really limit ourselves and to be realistic and all of that. But frankly, that sort of thinking has never served me. And I don't know anyone that it has actually served, right? It doesn't really help us do anything. It just keeps us in that place of lack and fear and keeps us stuck. So right now, I want to encourage you to, again, get really clear on your money desires, not just your desires for your life, but your desires for your finances. What do you really see as something that is realistic for you this month, but also it's your desire and it fulfills your need and it has a purpose. So money will come where there's a purpose. That's another thing that I really want you to understand. So when I was starting to do this work and flip the switch, I figured out what the desires were for my life and how much money I had a purpose for. And so, again, this isn't about like going off and like dancing with purple unicorns or something. Like, obviously, there needs to be some bit of reality in here as well. So what is it that you desire for, say, this month? And then you figure out the purpose for the money from those desires. So say, like, I know this month I'm going to be going to Australia. I'm also going to be going to Bali. I also need to get some clothes for a photo shoot that I'm doing. I'm going to be spending money for food. I'm obviously going to have bill expenses for the business. I have a payment for Gina DeVee's Millionaire program that I'm in. So I know that all those desires and all of those things have a purpose for a certain amount of money. So I know the exact amount of money that I desire for the month and that I really desire to come in. And so I focus on that. And then, of course, if you are the type of woman who is at the place where you just desire the $6,000 to come in or the $10,000, whatever it is, then you focus on that and you focus on the purpose for the money. Because money needs to be attracted and it needs to have that purpose. Like I said, it's not just like, It's not just like you say to yourself, oh, I wish I had $10,000 this month, because that's really not strong enough. This has to be coming from a place of an intense amount of energy in a good way, instead of I wish, or it would be nice, basically. If you hear yourself saying, it would be nice to have $10,000 tomorrow, well, frankly, that's not strong enough. You have to really amp up the energy, and you have to make it so fierce, and you have to believe that there's such a strong purpose for this money that it's already yours. And so that's when I've really seen the money come in, is when I make it so non-negotiable. There's such a strong purpose for this money. I really desire this money. It's non-negotiable. Like I said, it has to come in. And now, frankly, I've designed my life around the fact that the money has to come in. My bills are what they are. My commitments are what they are. And so there's not even a reason for the money not to come in. It has to come in, right? There's a purpose for it. There's a huge purpose for it. And I focus on that. And I focus on the exact amount that I need every single month. And of course, like if other things come into your life, like last month, I wasn't expecting certain things to come in, certain opportunities, I should say. And so I had to up the amount of money that I really desired. So again, it's about being really clear on your desires, making it a stretch, but also being based in reality. Like I do see women make the mistake of, just starting a business and then believing, okay, well, there's a purpose for the $10,000 next month, so I'm going to set my sights on that. Well, if you've never made any money in your business, to go from nothing to the 10,000, I'm not saying it's not doable, but we also need to be based in reality. So my personal journey was that I went from $442 in July, up to $2,000 in August, and then $6,000 in September, $6,000 in October again, and then the quantum leaps started happening. And then I went from the $6,000 up to $20,000, then up to $33,000, and then up to $80,000 plus this past month. And so that's, you have to build that foundation. And again, the quantum leaps can happen, but I would just encourage you, if you're just starting out, to make sure that it's a stretch, obviously, and you're clear about your desires, but also that you're being realistic with this. And so be the woman who makes the $2,000 and be really excited about that. Put a lot of energy into it, put a lot of gratitude into it, because that's part of this as well. Why is the universe or God or whatever going to give you more money and going to give you more and more and more if you're not already happy with what you have? And so there's that balance there, it's about being balanced between being realistic and also being really clear about these big desires that you have for your life and making them non-negotiable. So I hope that makes sense. It's obviously easier if you and I are in a one-on-one coaching relationship, or if you're in one of my group programs, to really go deep with this and be specific about what it is that you want. But again, it's really about the energy behind your life. So when it comes to your, just everyday mindset and also your money mindset, it's about being really clear about what you desire, putting so much energy into it that it's like, that this is meant for you. There's not even any room for that doubt to creep in. As I said to you in the previous call, I could have gone into overwhelm. I could have gone into doubt last month when all these big things were happening, but I knew that all this was meant for me. And so it was almost like, I snapped my finger and the fear is gone. So it needs to be that quick that you, in terms of not letting those doubts and those fears come in. So that's why it's so important that you strengthen your money mindset. So it's to the point where, the fear will come in and then literally a second later, it'll be gone. And so until you get to that point, basically you need to keep working on your money mindset and on your regular mindset as well. And it's like you're going to the gym, right? Like unfortunately, we can't just go to the gym once and be in shape forever. So we're going to be constantly working on our mindset, especially the money mindset as well. Even I was telling someone this the other day, as you make more money, you have to keep working on your money mindset, right? So you're constantly up leveling in a business. You're taking on new things. Your success is increasing. That's what we want. But at the same time, new fears, new insecurities, new spaces for growth will present themselves. And so you need to be really strong in both respects in terms of your mindset and your money mindset. So I hope that really makes sense. And one of the things that I think is really cool about your mindset is you'll start seeing results straight away. So if you start doing this work and really putting it out there in the universe that, you have this desire for the money, and you're really flipping the switch and you're believing that you always have enough money for all of your desires. Even if you're really new in your business, things will start happening straight away. For example, I referred a friend to something and PayPal sent me a $500 check for that referral, and I wasn't expecting that. Or, when I went to my yoga studio, I was given a discount for every single month for the next 6 months out of the blue. So things like that will start happening. I know one of my clients in particular just shared a story about how her husband was just offered a job that was double his salary, and it takes less time out of his day. So, even if things don't seem like they're immediately related to your business, like, maybe you don't get 10 clients next month, you only get 4, still celebrate that and still also be really open to money coming from anywhere, because frankly, the how is not your business. I had to really get that through my head when someone told me that a few months ago, because I'm someone who likes to control everything, right? So the how is not your business. It can happen in so many different ways. So be open to receiving. Be open to knowing that the money is on its way to you. You are deserving of money. Frankly, so many people think, being wealthy is wrong. What about all those people who have nothing? Like, I should just be grateful for what I have. Well, yeah, be grateful, but also realize that you can't really help anyone until you yourself are taken care of financially. I personally could not help anyone in my family unless I was making this amount of money, and obviously I see more money in my future. I was giving people like $50 Christmas gifts, right? And I desire to be at a different level. I would desire to be the woman who gives her family incredible Christmas gifts. I desire to be the woman who buys my parents a vacation home. I desire to have my own vacation home. Whatever your desires are, I believe that they're there for a reason and that they're meant for you. And frankly, we cannot help the people in our lives. We can't help anyone who has no money unless we ourselves have money. I wasn't even able to tip at Starbucks or tip in restaurants when I was, broken in debt and living that life. I had a very negative relationship with money. And I thought to myself, well, how can I give these people money if I myself don't have any money? Right? Like, how can I tip? And so what I started to do to get into that new frame of mind is that I would tip the pound at Starbucks, even if it wasn't expected. I would tip 15 or 20% at restaurants, even if it wasn't expected. I know it's a bit different in the UK and Europe, even though it's expected in the US. I would tip the taxi driver when that wasn't expected. I would go and get the 15-pound manicure once a month that helped really raise my vibration and helped me tell the universe, okay, I know and I believe that money is on its way to me. I know that I am deserving of this money. I know that I'm working hard. I know that I'm switching my mindset into one of abundance instead of lack. And so I know that there's more than enough money for my desires. There are more than enough clients for me out there. And by doing that, I really got into that more abundant frame of mind, like those little things. Like, even if you go out and buy yourself a new thing of nail polish, or you spend money on a Facebook ad, or you spend money getting someone from Elance to design a graphic for you. So I'm not saying to go out and spend a fortune, but do little things that get you into that abundant frame of mind straight away and help you start flipping that switch today. You don't need to wait until the 6 figures come in. You can do things straight away today. And I would really say that's one of the biggest things that switched everything for me. There was one day where my husband and I decided that we were going to give in to what we wanted to do that day. And we were going to go out to lunch, and then we were going to go and have a drink at one of our favorite restaurants. And we weren't going to think about every little penny that we were spending. We didn't go to Harrods and blow all of our money or rack up tons of debt. But at the same time, we lived the life that we really desired. And we believed that the money was flowing to us and the money was already on its way, instead of constantly living in the place of fear and debt and lack and, that I had been in for so long. If that's where you have been for your whole life and it's not serving you, well, my goodness, now is the time to really switch, because we know when fear doesn't serve us, it never serves us. We know when lack and belief that everything is wrong and negative, that never serves us. And so if that's the way you've been living, take note of your exact thoughts this week. Write them down. Be really prudent with that. And then start flipping the switch. Put the Post-it notes around. Listen to the audios. Read the books. Like I said, I would recommend The Science of Getting Rich, and also Think and Grow Rich, and also The Big Leap, which is a huge one. So start doing this mindset work today, and then you'll start to build this foundation to be that successful female entrepreneur, and you'll start to see doors opening up. You'll start to see clients being attracted to you. You'll start to see money flowing in. And so this is your chance to really, like I said, download that new operating system, really transform into that successful female entrepreneur that I know you were born to be. It just takes a little bit of work. So I totally know you can do this. If you have any questions at all about what I've said in terms of flipping the switch on your mindset, also flipping the switch on your money mindset, then of course you can email me at emily@iheartmylife.com. And like I said, there's a reason why all of my programs incorporate the mindset work in addition to structures. It's just, it's needed. I was the woman who, like I said, wrote on that form that I wasn't excited about anything, just as I was about to manifest and bring in all these clients and have make 6 figures in 6 months. So what if I would have given up? What if I would have just thrown in the towel then? It takes the strong mindset to bounce back from 54 clients saying no to you, which is exactly what I experienced. As entrepreneurs, it's not always smooth sailing in the beginning, especially. And so you have to be strong in your mindset, and you have to believe that you are meant for this work and that you are meant to bring in the money that you desire. And so that's why this work is so important. You have to be able to constantly up level. You have to be able to not go into overwhelm. It's just the reality of this business and this work. And frankly, you will be so much happier if you are focused on the positive and you are focused on the abundance instead of the opposite. Trust me. So start putting the Post-it notes up, flip the switch, do 2 minutes of some sort of meditation or prayer every morning where you focus on the fact that you always have enough money for all of your desires, or whatever mantra really resonates with you. And just begin constantly flipping that switch. So you get to the point where, if the fear or the doubt creeps in, then literally it's gone within a snap of a finger. And I know you can do this work. And of course, if you need any extra support, that's what my programs are there for. For example, we have the iHeart Coaching Program, which is running right now. Registration has opened, so you're going to want to go to iheartcoaching.com just to figure out a bit more about that program, see if it's right for you, see how we incorporate mindset as well as supporting you in building your coaching business. So that's iheartcoaching.com, and you'll see all of the juicy information you need. We definitely start off with a few weeks of mindset work, but it's really part of the entire program. You'll get weekly calls with me. So if anything ever comes up, then of course you just ask on the calls and get the support that you need. You'll also get mindset specific calls with my husband, James. He's an amazing coach. He's really brilliant when it comes to mindset and confidence and overcoming any blocks that you may have that are keeping you from your success. So just know you don't have to do this alone. I know that a lot of the time it seems like it's going to be challenging to flip the switch. It seems like it's going to be challenging to write down all of your thoughts and figure out which ones aren't serving you. But it's not meant to be done alone. This is a transition. This is really a new thing that you're learning. So really reach out and get the support you need. And definitely iHeart Coaching is the best option for that right now. So go to iheartmylife.com, and from there you'll see more information about iHeart Coaching, or you can specifically go to iheartcoaching.com. I'll look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks again. I hope you loved today's episode. If you know somebody who needs this material, make sure to send it to them today. I know for me, when I first discovered that I had power over my mind and that I could control my thoughts, my whole world transformed. So I want to share this information with as many people as possible. And per usual, thank you so much for being a part of the I Heart My Life show. If you'd leave us a review, we would so appreciate it. We read all of the reviews on iTunes, and it helps us get this podcast into more and more hands, or ears, I should say. It helps us spread the I Heart My Life message far and wide. So thanks again. And I'll talk to you next time on the I Heart My Life show. We hope you loved this episode. Thank you so much for being an avid listener of the I Heart My Life show. Take a second and leave a review. It would mean so much to us, and we read all of them. And for further inspiration and life and business tips about creating a life that you love and achieving massive success, definitely follow us at iHeartMyLife on Instagram and at iHeartMyLifeNow on Facebook. See you next time.